Hey everyone, Zion over here from Nintendo Life, and today we're here to share with you our review of Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE Encore on the Nintendo Switch. This review was originally written by Scullion for NintendoLife.com, but was reworked into this video by me. The number of big Wii U exclusives that have still yet to receive Switch ports is well into single digits now, with Nintendo seemingly all too happy to continue queuing up its back catalog and giving each title another chance at success, which, in our opinion, is fully deserved. Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE is the latest game to get a second shot, or more fittingly, an encore, and it probably deserves one more than most. Make no mistake about it, the Wii U was basically a glorified Smash machine by the time this one launched, so this will be considered a first-time purchase even for many of those who owned Nintendo's last system. So with that in mind, let's get down to the basics before we look into what's new with this Encore edition of the game. To explain the game's plot fully, we'd probably need a review twice as long as this one, but the general idea is that modern-day Tokyo is being plagued by mirages, a bunch of ghost-like figures who are sucking the energy out of humans. You play as a bunch of Tokyo high schoolers who all have one thing in common. They're all secretly Mirage Masters, which means that they can merge with friendly Mirages and help them defeat the evil ones. The twist is that most of these good guy Mirages are all represented by characters from the Fire Emblem series. Each member of your party teams up with a specific Fire Emblem character, who essentially can morph into their weapon. The main character, Itsuki, for example, is accompanied by Chrom, who takes the form of your sword during battles. Despite the game's original working title of Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem, this crossover is far more a Shin Megami game than it is a Fire Emblem one. The inclusion of those Fire Emblem characters and the occasional burst of the familiar Fire Emblem theme is about as far as the game goes in terms of representing Nintendo and Intelligent System series, whereas there are far more links to Atlus's games in here, especially the combat system. As a result, any Fire Emblem fans hoping for a Professor Layton vs. Phoenix Wright style crossover incorporating both series gameplay will be in for a shock, because they'll find none of the Fire Emblem game's traditional strategic combat in here. Instead, it purely focuses on a turn-based RPG battle system, which is commonly found in Persona and many other SMT titles. Now, that's not to say this is a particularly bad thing, of course, just that you should treat this more as a Shin Megami Tensei spin-off that happens to have Fire Emblem characters in it. The battle system is pleasantly uncomplicated for the most part. Your party members are armed with the typical attack, item, and escape options you'd expect from a game of this type, as well as the ability to perform special skills, which use up points. These skills are where the game really comes into its own, because each of the attack-based ones make up one of 10 different types of weapon or magic. You have sword, bow, spear, fire, electric, and so on, and each enemy is weak or resistant to certain types. If you can attack with a skill of a type that the enemy is weak to, you'll not only do more damage, you'll also potentially trigger a session attack. This means that any character in your party who also have a skill of that type will then chime in with their own move, dealing even more damage. It's a simple but satisfying mechanic, and as you progress through the game, you'll find ways to build even larger session combos, and also integrate the ad-lib performance buff attacks and special performance finishing moves to ultimately make your battles a parade of over-the-top flashy movements. If you're the impatient type, the Switch version adds the ability to speed up the session animations if you feel they're too long. Battles more or less take place exclusively in idolospheres, spiritual realms where mirages can be seen. Each idolosphere essentially serves as one of the game's dungeons, and as they appear all around Tokyo, your aim is naturally to head in and clear out the evil. While the combat is entertaining and full of spectacle, exploring the dungeons themselves can sometimes be a little underwhelming. They often have their own little puzzles and have to be solved so you can progress, but these are rarely entertaining, and you'll find yourself praying that they won't take too long so you can get out of them and get on with the fun stuff. And fun is absolutely the word to use when describing the majority of the game. Not just in how it feels to play, but its overall presentation. With a plot based on Japanese idol culture, Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE is a constant barrage of color, J-pop music, and general unrepentant joy. Even during its less enthralling story moments or its more repetitive sections, it still does its very best to put a smile on your face with its constant positivity. You're going to have a great time in this world, as long as you have a love for Japanese pop culture and anime, especially because there's no English voice acting here, just a Japanese dub and English subs. And in case you already know all of this and have either started or finished the original on Wii U, there are 1 or 2 additions to the Switch port that may not necessarily be enough to justify playing through the entire game a second time, but will please die-hard fans. Some of these additions are completely throwaway, like for example, you can now choose whether your party member Tsubasa wears glasses or not. Other changes include general tweaks to how the game's played. The topic screen, which acts as your character's mobile phone and lets you read through fairly entertaining text chats, is now brought up with the press of a button, as opposed to simply being shown on the Wii U gamepad screen prior. Whether or not this is a good or bad thing depends on your own personal taste, and we quite liked the double screen gimmick on the Wii U. A few previously unplayable characters now also get involved in battles from time to time. They can't be added as proper, fully fledged members of your party, but they can sometimes join in your session attacks, making for bigger combos. The game also adds some new songs, including covers of existing ones but sung by different characters. These are all welcome changes though, even if they're not groundbreaking. The main new addition is a EX story, which includes a brand new dungeon called the Area of Aspiration, and offers a little more backstory for the characters. It's fairly short and lightweight, but adds some extra detail to various characters' relationships, so fans should still get a kick out of it. It also lets you unlock some new costumes that are exclusive to the Switch version of the game. Most of the previous DLC from the Wii U version is included here too, including the 3 Mirage Hunter support dungeons, which you could use to increase your stats and upgrade your skills fairly quickly. The only notable DLC that's missing is the Hot Spring set, which contains swimsuits for each of the characters. That's because this is based on the Western version of the Wii U game, which modified some of the outfits to make them a little less racy. You'll no doubt see some chat in the comments about how the censorship in this version is so outrageous that Nintendo and Atlus may as well have kicked your door down and slapped your mother right in the face. But the reality is that the few changes made don't affect the gameplay in any way. And at the end of the day, it just makes some things a bit less strange. Besides, this time Japan also gets the censored version, so it's not like there's a special uncut Switch version the West is missing out on. Ultimately, the new additions found in the Switch version of Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE are mostly welcome. However, they don't change the game enough to make those who spent upwards of 60 hours completing the Wii U version feel like they absolutely have to do it again. The reality is that those who will get the most out of the Switch port are those who didn't play it on Wii U, but given that's a fairly large percentage of the Switch user base, that isn't much of an issue. Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE Encore is one of the most colorful, approachable, and downright endearing RPGs you'll find on the Switch. Its new story chapter, music tracks, and character assists improve on the original to an extent, but not enough to greatly affect its overall quality. Thankfully, what was there was already fantastic, meaning those who missed out on it the first time around really have no reason not to get sucked in. We here at Nintendo Life give Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE Encore on the Nintendo Switch an 8 out of 10. If you'd like to learn more about Tokyo Mirage Sessions, we'll leave a link in the description down below to our hands-on preview video, which gives more details on Fire Emblem and Shin Megami Tensei comparisons, the combat, and much more. And don't forget to check out NintendoLife.com for even more.